Well, the monsoons are here, and what better than enjoying it with a cup of hot piping chai and settling in with a garma garam samosa. Perhaps even add a jalebi to it. After all, it is our favorite desi snack. Well, there are, even as we speak, chai walas in every gully and nukkad serving it up. Hot, steaming and satiating samosas. But beware of the samosa caucus. What really is the samosa caucus? Well, we are calling the trinity of chai, samosas and jalebi, the samosa caucus that you need to be careful about. Here on Decoding Now, we are going to tell you how these yummy and lip-smacking dishes are perhaps our biggest enemies. They are being put in the same bracket as cigarettes. Can you believe it? It's as injurious to eat a samosa and a jalebi as it is smoking cigarettes. Why? Well, the Union Health Ministry has ordered that all the central government offices must put up signboards which are going to be telling people to be cautious of oil and sugar. That the public must know what exactly it is they are eating and how harmful it is. It is going to be quite like smoking is injurious to your health kind of signboards, which are going to be put up this time across in cafeterias and canteens as well as public services, and they are going to be alerting people of the poison that we are consuming. An attempt to treat junk food like samosa, jalebis, even laddus and pakoras like tobacco when it comes to public signages. So let's tell you why it is that they are saying samosas are like cigarettes. Which are these delicacies which really cause you just as harm as a cigarette would? Let's take you through. First, of course, was the jalebi. You have the samosa. Pakoras, of course, are just as harmful. Laddus, vada paos, even the humble gulab jamun. That too can harm you. Well, there is a reason why the government is very concerned, and it is a good reason. All the dishes that we just showed you contain either very high amounts of oil or excess of sugar. And the most concerning amongst them, of course, is the samosa, easily the most accessible dish across India and quite frankly, the most dangerous. Why, you ask? Well, remember, in India, there are about 60 million samosas which are sold daily. Imagine, 60 million samosas a day. This comes to the market of roughly $3.65 billion a day. Let's tell you how there is no doubt each and every one of these dishes, including the samosas, all of them are mouth-watering. I mean, who wouldn't want to have that samosa in the evening or that jalebi after a nice meal? But do you know that it comes at a cost? Health issues, diabetes, obesity, all of these are being caused by consuming excess oil and sugar. And India, unfortunately, ranks very, very high when it comes to the global obesity index. Watch this, about 6.4% of women in India are obese. About 24% of women in India are overweight. Most of them, remember, are in the urban areas. 4% of men in India are obese and 22.9% of the men are overweight as well. And by 2050, it is being estimated that 44.9 crore Indians are likely to be overweight, making India the hub, the second largest hub of obesity across the world by 2050. In fact, just to put it into perspective, about 1/5 of the urban adults are overweight. 8% of children are also obese, and that is a big worrying point. But let's break it down to you. After all, a moment on the lips, forever on the hips, they say that. But sample how many calories that you'll be piling up and how long it will take for you to burn it up. For example, if you eat one samosa, just one samosa, it comes with 260 calories. You have to burn off 260 calories with 65 minutes of walking. That's how much it will cost you to try and burn off the samosa calories. If you have one jalebi, it comes to roughly 150 calories. You have to burn it off with about 22 minutes of cycling. For a pakora, well, 300 calories that comes along with it. Rather, you have to burn it up with 27 minutes of running. Gulab jamun, that's 175 calories. You have to burn that off with 44 minutes of walking. And laddu, well, that comes with 200 calories. You have to burn it off with 29 minutes of cycling. Almost half an hour of cycling will ensure that you burn off the calories of a laddu. Now, we all know these cravings simply cannot end overnight, and no one's really asking you to forget those samosas and jalebis. But a balance is absolutely important. Remember, at the end of it all, people like you and me, many of us who are living in urban centers, also have to think about how our lungs are being damaged by a lot of pollution as well that we are battling. So we and our healths are not in the best of shapes to ensure that we also, on top of it all, have unhealthy food. For example, you look at samosa. What you can do when you have a samosa or you get these cravings of samosas, you can avoid deep fried samosas. You can have baked samosas. Those options are now available. You can have air fried samosas as well. You can also ensure that you fill the samosa with boiled vegetables, with sprouts instead of deep fried aloo. When you have a jalebi, soak it in honey or soak it in jaggery instead of the sugary water syrup. You can also try baking jalebis or pan frying them lightly just to keep that crispiness alive. In a pakora, well, avoid deep frying. Of course, many people are looking at pakoras which are either baked or even air fried. These are just some of the things that you can look at to ensure that you don't fall sick. Because remember, at the end of it, you are investing in your old age by taking out time to do all these small tweaks to your diet. After all, excessive intake of anything can be very harmful. It's not just oil or sugar that we are looking at. In fact, there's a recent ICMR study which found out that Indians are consuming much more salt than what is necessary. And salt has now become a major point of concern. An ICMR study says that Indians eat 2 times the amount of salt than what is really recommended. What really is the problem behind that? It can cause high blood pressure, heart diseases, hypertension, kidney disorders, and perhaps even strokes. The alternative to that is to ensure that we have a low sodium salt. That is something you can look at. But is it only desi snacks which are silent killers for us? Well, let's also beware of burgers, of pizzas as well. Next time you have that bite of samosa and jalebi, remember, it also comes with a side of guilt. But let's not forget, when we blame our desi snacks for obesity, for high content of salt, of sugar, oil, there is also a possibility that the solution to all of this lies in our desi wisdom. The wisdom of yoga, the wisdom of exercise, the wisdom of meditation. All of this will ensure that you can balance it out. Yes, have your samosa, have your jalebi, but at the end of it, remember, a balance needs to be drawn as well so that you have the best of both worlds, perhaps. Well, that's all we could pack in for you here on Decoding Now. Do let us know what you want decoded next.